I'ma keep it a bean. Stick to the script, every scene. This from last year, but they clean. Say to say, I'ma take something else, but it's a winning team. Charlie Sheen, fam gang, the regime. I'm from Piney Green.
What's good, Shellitronnn here. You can call me Shells, and I'm back at it again with a brand new video. And I'm gonna keep it a Bowberry biscuit. This press conference of coach, or I guess ex-head coach Ron Rivera, giving his final presser, his final time talking to the media in Charlotte, was actually pretty emotional. I'm not gonna lie to you. This was a lot deeper. This hit a lot different than I thought it would. I've talked about this a couple times, and I'll give you what I'm gonna call my final thoughts, but I'm pretty sure over the next couple weeks, and especially during the offseason, I'm gonna touch back on what I think about Coach Ron Rivera, the team in general between 2011 and this season, things that are going to change, things I expect to change, and just what the coaching staff, what the team makeup's going to be, and how this team's going to be led moving forward. But for right now, I want to give my thoughts on what he mentioned in that 31-minute press conference addressing the media after being fired very early in the morning. This was after he already addressed the team and his ex-staff and all that kind of stuff. So basically, this right here, before I start off, I want to go ahead and mention something that I've always mentioned in every single video I've talked about Coach Ron Rivera when it comes to his future with the team and his abilities as a coach. I think in every video, except for the one I did yesterday, giving my first reaction with him getting fired, I'll say it right now. Coach Rivera, Ron Rivera, is not a bad coach. Ron Rivera is not a bad NFL coach. He's a good coach. He's a good dude, but there are just sometimes when you reach 9 years and you don't get the kind of results that you want to see out of your team, it's just sometimes you can have decent results, but you need to have a different voice. Sometimes it's time for another voice, another leader to come in there, and I think we all understood that this was possible with a new owner coming in. I mean, when he first got announced as a new owner, people were wondering if he was going to move the whole team to a different state, move the stadium to a different state, do a lot of other things. But I think the most likely of any of those big changes was a coaching change. And this happens in both leagues, in the NFL and the NBA. An owner comes in, a GM comes in, and they want their guys. I mean, when you get a new head coach, they bring in their guys. So it's not really all that surprising that someone in a position of leadership would want to bring in someone that they vetted, someone that they chose themselves, someone that they handpicked to be the face or the, I guess, leader underneath them. But when it comes to Coach Ron Rivera and David Tepper, we have to understand that there are a few things that came into this, that come into play here with him being fired, with him being let go, that aren't just a matter of some kind of, off the top, David Tepper wants to have his guy only. There are a few things that we can talk about, I guess, in a negative light when it comes to Coach Rivera. But I want to go over that second, because I do want to do something that Coach Rivera did say in his presser, and that's not focus only on the bad. I want to focus some on the good as well, because it wasn't only bad times with Coach Rivera. We know that we never had a back-to-back winning season, not just with Coach Rivera, but with the team as a whole. We have not done it. Yes, he did win the NFC South division title 3 years in a row. Now, let me be real about it. 2014, winning a division title with a losing record, not just an even record at 8-8, but a losing record at 7-8-1. I'm not sure just how much you can be celebrated for that. That doesn't speak so much to your ability coaching as it does the inability of 3 other teams in your division. I'm not going to be the one to talk about how great that was, but the fact does remain that he won the NFC South 3 years in a row. It was the first time it's been done in this division. That's great. He did have seasons of 12-4, 11-5, 15-1. We can't take away the great things that Coach Rivera did as a football coach. And as he mentioned in his presser, and I think as a lot of us Panthers fans know, there's a lot of things that Coach Rivera does off the football field and away from the actual sport of football that make him a very good guy, that make him a desirable kind of guy, that make him someone that you want to root for. Off the field, this dude, Ron Rivera, is a good dude. And a lot of these football players on our team, past and present, talk a lot about who he is, not as a coach, but as a man. And that's one of the better things. That's one of the things that it's one of those intangibles. we talk about intangibles with players all the time, like leadership abilities. They have that it factor. People want to play for them, play with them. But a guy like Coach Rivera, having that kind of off the field kind of stuff as well, is a big factor in being someone who can coach these bigger guys like Cam Newton, Christian McCaffrey, Luke Kuechly. I mean, even talking about TD58 when he was here, there's other guys, Greg Olsen, a lot of guys, Eric Reed, a lot of guys who, you know, they're big names themselves. They have a lot of things going on themselves. And you can be a good coach, but if you're a good person, these guys will respect you even more. And that's who Ron Rivera was. But, like I mentioned, it's not just about all the good things. There were some bad things. And I mentioned this before about how I feel about literally every single time anyone, either a Panthers fan or not a Panthers fan, everyone wants to bring up that one season in 2015. Yes, it was a great season. I even saw someone say that Coach Rivera carried this team to the Super Bowl. Now, I don't know if there was anyone talking about him carrying this team to the Super Bowl in 2015. I don't know how many times we see a coach being talked about carrying the team to a Super Bowl other than Bill Belichick. But let's be real here. 2015 we can't just say, oh, look what he did 4 years ago. 4 years ago, went to the Super Bowl. That's great. That is great. But if your first argument as to why a guy should stay, or as to why a guy is good, or, you know, the first thing you support your opinion on happened 4 years ago, you might want to reevaluate what your actual thought process is in sports. When we talk about sports, it doesn't matter what the sport is, it doesn't matter what the league is. This is a what have you done for me lately kind of entertainment industry. And we understand what's going on with Cam. We talk about, well, you know, the past 2 years, we haven't had Cam. This year, he had the foot injury. Last year was the shoulder injury that happened in the Steelers game. We understand that. But we also can't forget, this is the same guy who most of us believe kept Cam in the games in that season for way too long. And a lot of us thought that possibly Coach Ron Rivera realized, which we all understand, the Panthers' best chance of winning is having Cam Newton out on that field. And a lot of us were thinking, or maybe even suspecting, that Ron Rivera was keeping Cam on the field to save his own job. Now we know that this year the injury was to his foot. And to me, honestly, we can talk about the whole video Cam's had out, talking about they didn't know, you know, I kept it from these guys. They couldn't tell that I was injured. I want to see if I could go and play through it. I'm sorry. If you're a head coach, a medical staff, anyone in that Panthers locker room, and you don't notice that your quarterback cannot jog, he said he was in pain. He said he could not do a light jog around the stadium in the pregame in either of the two first games against the Rams and the Bucks. If you were too scared to tell Cam to sit down, you probably should not be the head coach. But I don't want to focus on that too much because we know it was a mistake. I think we can all agree, we can all basically come together on this. It was a mistake to keep Cam in, and that was one of his biggest mistakes, I think, in his coaching career. Yes, he has a positive record in his 8.5, 9 years with this team. He's at about 56%. That's not great, but it's also not bad. We consider, you know, we've never had a great O-line. We only just now have good receivers for Cam. Christian McCaffrey is just now coming into what he's going to be doing. And Cam hasn't really had an opportunity to really, you know, be in that system where things look good on offense. He's had a couple good defenses, but he's never really had an explosive offense with good protection and a lot of weapons around him. His best weapon has been Kelvin Benjamin and Greg Olsen. That's what it's been for most of his career. So we understand what's going on there. And like I mentioned before, Ron Rivera, he will get another job. He got a little bit unlucky here in Carolina with the injuries, not being able to pick up the right kind of personnel in the draft, guys busting, and other things that happened along the way. But I think it was the right time to move on, and he'll have a good, he'll be straight for the years to come. I think this team will be better in the years to come. It may not happen immediately. And that's the thing I want to end this video on, is to mention this. We may not be the greatest team next year. It's going to be a process, because first off, you don't know that the next guy is going to be the guy for the long-term future. But I've always mentioned this in my videos and in comments, people talking to me about this. when there's change that needs to happen, you can't be so scared of failure that you get stuck in mediocrity. And let's be honest here, this team has been stuck in mediocrity for a long time now. It's been a long time. Mediocrity. We have a winning season, losing season, winning season, losing season. We might get 9-10 wins, losing season. We understand what's been happening here. It might not be the first year. It might not be the first guy who comes in after Ron Rivera, who gets this team to becoming a stable, I guess, beacon of consistency and production. But I think it's fair to say that we knew that with Ron Rivera, it was just time. Going on a decade here with that just wasn't going to be the move for us. And I think this was a good move for both sides. It gets Ron Rivera a fresh start, and it gets us a fresh start somewhere else. Like I mentioned before, I don't know who we're going to get. There's a lot of names floating on right now. I don't know if it's going to be a college guy, if it's going to be someone who's been retired for a little bit, like, maybe a Bill Cowher, college guy being Lincoln Riley, which that wouldn't work for us, I don't think. But there's a lot of time, a lot of opportunity for us to make these kind of moves and to find the right guy for us. And I'll be making those videos when we get more information, probably later on after the season's already done. So we'll have a lot of time to talk about that. But I don't have any ill will toward Ron Rivera. I am glad he's gone, but I'm not mad at him. And Ron Rivera gets a chance to start a new chapter, move on, and do something different somewhere else where I think he will see some success. I think we'll see success in the future for us, and I think Ron Rivera will be a good coach somewhere else. Seriously. And he's a guy who gets it. He's definitely a good guy, a guy who gets it. I might miss, just one time, just one press conference, I might miss him saying missed opportunities. And at the very end of his presser, he did bring out some t-shirts. He left the facility doing the things he loved. Making t-shirts and saying missed opportunities. And you can't hate the man, bro. And no matter how you felt his coaching, about how he handled Cam, about a lot of things that's happened over the last several years with the Panthers, there's no way you can personally dislike Ron Rivera. I thought he lied sometimes in those press conferences. That's the football side of it. He was lying, and I do feel kind of bad ending the video saying this, but let's be real here. He was saying a couple half truths in the press conferences, but overall, he's obviously a good dude. That's how I feel about it. What are your thoughts on this? Thoughts on Ron Rivera as a coach? Where do you think he's going to land? Was this a good move, a bad move? Was it a mistake? Should we have kept him on? We're going to have a video talking about that last play from the Redskins game and Kyle Allen a little bit later on. But until then, you already know what to do with that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Being told y'all I been the man. Being told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend, real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.